Yes, the statement or the song that we just sang, I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. It's so, so true. We all know people who, or ourselves, when we have gotten down about something, when we've been sick, when we've lost a job or someone close to us, or when we've just gotten in a bad mood for whatever reason, it's hard to be a loving person. It's more like, don't bother me. I don't want to talk to anybody, right? Or if you do talk to somebody, it's all about your problems. We all know people like that, that once they have a listener, all about the problems. They're not talking to you or with you, they're talking at you. And a lot of this, so if we want to be a light in the world of any kind, then we have to really get down to basics, and that is to love ourselves. Could you show the first picture? So what do you see when you look in the mirror? Unfortunately, a lot of people do see something less than perfect. Either they're holding such high standards that no one can live up to them, or they feel like the face they're showing the world is not who they are. So when they look in the mirror, they see this sad person, this shamed person, this angry person, this fearful person, whatever it is. When I saw this, I just thought it was so perfect for what I was talking about now. We have to heal the person in the mirror before we can do much of anything else, before we can truly love other people. We can love them to the degree we love ourselves, right? So if when you look in the mirror, you see this, in this case, it looks more like shame or I can't deal with the world, then that's the place to start. Could I have the next picture? They've done a number of studies about whether plants respond to people and how they talk to them and everything, and the music that they play for them. Well, this mother wanted to teach her children, and then she put the whole experiment online, and this was like 6 years ago, and I happened to spot it then, and I took these pictures off the internet. She had 3 cups. One had stupid on it, another one had love on it, and another one had, it was nothing. It was just neutral. So that's how it started. The next picture, within 3 days, the one that the kids would go in for 5 minutes each day, and they would look at the one that said love on it and say, I love you. I love you. They were saying it to the seed. Then they were saying it to the little sprout that came out. I love you. I love you. And then to the next one for 5 minutes, you're stupid. You're stupid. I don't like you. You're stupid. And then they didn't say anything to the third one. After 3 days, you can see that the one that was receiving love was a good 3 inches tall, and the other one was barely making it out of the seed. Within 4 days, that's the next picture, you see all 3 cups. The neutral one is on the far right. The one that's receiving love is now about 6 inches tall, and the one that's receiving the hatred is only 1 inch tall. And the kids at this point couldn't stand it anymore. They saw what they were doing. They saw what their words were doing. And they said, Mama, we can't do this anymore. So they put on the outside, they put, I'm sorry. And they went in for 5 minutes each day. I love you. I love you. I love you, to the one. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And by day 7, the one that was receiving the sorry was growing again. And it was up to about what normal would have been.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that a wonderful lesson?
That is a beautiful lesson
For the kids? And it works for us, but I mean, you know, for them to be so emotionally, to see the results and to be able to say, we don't want to do this anymore. And then to bring it up. So Louise Hay says, if speaking kindly to plants helps them grow, imagine what speaking to yourself can do kindly to yourself. And when you don't, this is what often can happen. It's our inner child. Are we up to that one? Or are we still? Yeah, the next one. When we start complaining about ourselves, now I wish it was bigger. I can see it very big on mine, but for some reason it, yeah. The whole notion, do you want this? Oh. The whole notion here is that we have an inner child. And when we get upset with ourselves and we say, oh, that was so stupid, or why can't I do this? I'm so tired, or anything at all, when we start complaining about our bodies, our inner child feels like, hey, I'm doing the best I can for you. I'm doing absolutely everything I can for you. If you're going to feed me potato chips and Coke all the time, I mean, what do you expect, right? I'm doing the best I can. Now, when other people say things to us, if there's any of that not okayness in there, the next picture is that we start feeling really, really sad inside. And I don't think I have that copied. But it's that inner crying. I know there's been times when it wasn't that somebody else said something to me, but I would just feel like, oh God, I can't go on. And there'd be this inner child crying like, come on, I need a break. I need a break. Well, we need a break from our own self-criticism. We need a break from our own comparing ourselves to everybody else unfavorably, right? What happens is when this child, this crying child, has had enough, it erupts in anger, and it erupts in illness, and it erupts in projection. And that's the next one. So that when we can't handle our not okayness, there we go, we're going to start blaming other people. We're going to start blaming other people. And it's kind of like, you know, that child reaction. Well, if you'd given me the stuff instead of the spinach, I wouldn't have thrown it on the floor. Excuse me, if throwing it on the floor was not appropriate behavior. Excusing your behavior because I didn't give you what you wanted to eat. That doesn't fly. And we do that in so many ways. Well, I got mad because. You got mad because you chose to get mad. There is no because. There can be a stimulus, but we always have the choice of how we respond. So once again, there's this notion of either you're going to be a victim and you're going to blame everybody else for your problems, or you're going to be someone that takes control of your life, owns your own power, owns the part in the drama that you were playing, and thank you, and is able to go on from there. It is on, okay. So when we start blaming other people, we're projecting our not okayness onto them. Anything we don't like or approve of in ourselves gets blown on to someone else, and then we don't like it in them. How can you love someone if you've just projected all your not okayness onto them? And you don't do this to everybody. You're going to project onto other people all your lacks too. Oh, you're so smart. You're so much smarter than me. That's a projection out of how you feel about yourself. It all starts with number one. It has to, because this is the only one we know. This is the only one we live with. But when we project it out like that, you know, onto the blame, what does the other person do? Next slide. they project it right back. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. And both, because they're doing the same thing. Any not okayness in them is being blown onto you. It's never about you. It is never, ever about you. It's always about how they perceive you when they've painted on all the not okayness that they have about themselves. Because people that truly love themselves don't criticize and judge other people. They just don't. They just don't. I mean, Welita never criticizes anybody. Right? She doesn't. She always finds a reason. Well, you know, they've had it rougher. Well, you know, I mean, and Pamela, oh my God, my roommate. If I say the slightest thing that she thinks is a put down, she will start telling me why that person had a good reason to do it. I didn't need that. I wasn't criticizing. I was pointing, you know, observing. But anyway, no, people that love themselves don't criticize. They do not judge. They don't have to. So it's a good indication when we find ourselves criticizing or judging that we have projected something onto other people that isn't so good, and that they are doing the same thing right back to us. And in that process, we dance the ego.
Have battery issues.
Is that it? I'm projecting pretty loud. Can you hear me back there anyway? Okay. So Louise Hay says, you have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see how that goes. It's, I mean, really, just change the habit pattern, right? It's a choice. When we have a dance of egos, which is what I've been describing here, fault finding back and forth, divorces usually end this way. Well, it was your fault. You did this. No, it was your fault. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have done that. And on and on and on, right? And then they're pointing blame and trying to get the most they can out of whatever they have. The dance of egos can deal with what's which one is better. I'm the better athlete. No, you're the better athlete. You know, I mean, no, I'm the better, you know, on that stuff. I can do anything better than you can, right? Or resentments. Resentments are the dance of egos. Jealousy, the dance of egos. Fear is a dance of egos. Anything that's been unforgiven is a dance of egos. Call it back. Call it all back. We have to do that in order to own our own part in any situation, any situation. Now, there's another way to do it. It's circular. You can forgive it in them. Because whether you've projected it out onto them and you don't like them because they stand for everything you don't like about yourself, or whether you're able to draw that projection back and heal it here, it's going to work both ways. When we can forgive others for being having all the character traits that we don't like in ourselves, we're home free. Because when we can forgive it in them, we forgive it here too. It's a circular motion. And it's interesting because Course in Miracles has been talking, my class that I teach on Sunday mornings, has been talking about this very thing for the last 3 weeks. And then it came up when Jeff traded with me and I got the same topic and went, okay, here we go again. Not a coincidence. Course in Miracles says, I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. And it says, forgiveness is a choice. I never see my brother as he is, for that is beyond perception. What I see in him is rarely what I want to see. Is merely what I want to see, because it stands for what I want to be the truth. Now, let me stop right there. If we want to, why do we do the projection? Remember that crying child that couldn't handle the guilt anymore? They couldn't handle that much guilt. So they had to project it out onto somebody else so that I'm good. I'm the good one here. And it's your fault that we're having this issue, right? Whether it's at work or anywhere, right? It's when you can't do it anymore that you project it out onto other people. But if you want to see their sinlessness, if you want to see the sinlessness, then you have to see that no matter what the ego is doing. One of the women in my course said, it's trigger or glimmer. Either you look at the mask, the ego mask, and it's triggering everything that makes you angry and frustrated with them, or you say it's just a mask and you look for the glimmer around the outside of the mask, which is their true nature, their soul, their true spirit. If you go for the spirit, the mask starts slipping off. And then you see the goodness behind it. We have to be so diligent in that. It goes on to say, it is to this alone that I respond. However much I seem to be impelled by outside happenings, I choose to see what I would look upon. And this I see, and only this, my brother's sinlessness, my sister's sinlessness, my boss's sinlessness, my child's sinlessness, right? It shows me that what I look upon is my own, and I will to see it. I have chosen to behold my brother in a holy light. I got a wonderful quote here by a guy named Roger Teal. The Life is Joy. This Life is Joy. That's the book he wrote. I think he's so wonderful about this. He's talking about the forgiveness factor. If we can't forgive ourselves, or we need to forgive ourselves, or we've projected it out and we need to forgive them, either way, forgiveness is one of the highest expressions of self-love. It is loving yourself enough to move out of that stuck place, to get out of the quicksand. It is taking all of the energy devoted to fear and resentment and channeling it into something that is constructive, life-giving, and uplifting. Forgiveness is freeing yourself to get back to the higher agenda of your life, no longer triggered by the past. I just find that eloquent. And right on, right on. So if we look at the world as our mirror, and I know we've talked about that before, if we look at the world as a mirror, and our interactions with different people are going to be different, of course. But when you find people responding to you with love, with joy to see you, with maybe bring a problem to you, saying, look, I gotta think this through. Help me think this through. What you know, you're being your love. You know that you are learning to love yourself, and it's shining out there, and people are coming to you because they want that essence. And if, on the other hand, you're finding people being highly critical, and you're like, where did that come from? Then that is time to use that forgiveness and say, I don't know what's going on in your life. I refuse to take it personally. It's not about me, but I will love you so much that you can love you again. And then you can love me. Because that's the way it works. And why does it work that way? Because God is looking at us that way. Like any mirror, any true mirror, the gaze of God receives us exactly as we are, without judgment or distortion, without subtraction or addition. Such perfect receiving is what transforms us. Being totally received as we truly are is what we wait and long for all our lives. All we can do is receive and return the loving gaze of God every day. And afterwards, we will be internally free and happy at the same time. We simply return the gaze of God. He is the truest mirror we have. Have a good week.